I'm going to start with, I'm going to inverted introduction. Raymond Adams Mergech. Before I forget, my new best friend, because you're an IT guy.
I am.
Another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs. How you doing, man?
Good.
Tell me about your firm. I mean, the whole IT world it's fascinating, and it could be so nebulous that it's so confusing for a lot of people because we don't understand it, and then you get some IT providers that do certain stuff, and then some other stuff is in the cloud, and it could be confusing for a neophyte such as myself. It could be incredibly confusing. So describe your company for us in words that I can understand.
Words that I guess that anybody could understand would be, we host everything that you can think of that needs to touch the internet. And we worry about the hardware. We worry about that server or that computer that's running it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's our service, is that we're hosting something for you, making sure it's up and running when you need it.
So that if electricity goes down, if I'm hacked or something is apparently lost in my world, it's not lost in your world, and I can always retrieve it.
Correct.
Is that how
That's
I
correct.
understand it?
If you lost internet at your house, you could go to the local coffee shop and log right back on.
How did you get started into this thing? What kind of background do you have? I mean, did you just one day just dream it up and I'm gonna create this company? There's a need out there. How does that walk me through that process, brother?
Built my first computer at 11, and at 11 years old, yeah, and went around the neighborhood.
And that can't be too far long ago, man, because you're looking like about 18 now.
No, I'm 28. I'm 28. But yeah, I went around the neighborhood, grabbed parts and pieces, milled something together, and then sold the computer about a couple months later. And I learned a lot, and I made some profit, and I said, wait a minute here, I'm onto something, and I told my parents that's what I wanted to do. So I went to DeVry University.
Yeah.
My undergrad in network communications, and then went on to get my master's degree in business, and been running this for 5 years now.
When you build that first computer, obviously you taught yourself. I mean, these are the parts. This is how it should be coming together, et cetera, et cetera. You knew at that point that the computer world is where you wanted to be.
Yes.
So now you have this incredibly amazing company that you're providing services for businesses such as myself. Now, what's your ideal business, if you will? What is your ideal client? Is it the mom and pop? Is it the medium-sized client? Is it the big client? What can you handle?
Right now, what we are looking for and what we handle is the small business. So what I mean by that is, 1 to 100 employees. I usually go by that size. So rather than saying small, medium, or large, because it really has that mindset. So
1 to 100 employees. Now, and you host the services.
Yes.
In addition to that, though, are you providing other services that company? Because the small businesses, I would imagine, such as myself, I mean, we're really lost when it comes to lost in the sense that we may not know what's available out there for us to utilize. What other stuff do you do with your company?
Other than hosting, we provide consulting services. So we'll come in and run network cables if you need it, hook up a security system, surveillance, that kind of thing, Wi-Fi. Any of that nature. We work with coffee shops as well, helping set up their Wi-Fi, and or security portals, if you will. So when someone logs in, they can then make sure, oh yeah, thank you for visiting this XYZ coffee shop. Here's some specials, things like that. There's all sorts of things that I know how to work with, and I work with web designers and web developers as well.
Which is an interesting point that you bring up, because do you think now that say personal Wi-Fi or personalized Wi-Fi, it's where the Wi-Fi business is going? So in other words, somebody that comes into my brick and mortar, instead of going through the traditional Wi-Fi login, for instance, where they ask me for a password and what is there, that my brick and mortar picture shows up there, and people can log in with their Facebook account, for instance.
Yep.
That would enable me to say capture all their information if they were to do something like that. Is that what you see?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of capturing the data, and what kind of people are coming into your brick and mortar shop, right?
Right.
I mean, that's instantly you can get that kind of information by pulling that from a Facebook or a Google Plus or what have you, LinkedIn login.
Correct. And so you guys are able to kind of put something like that together into a business.
Correct.
That's pretty amazing, man. That's pretty amazing. Now, as a businessman, now I see the technical aspect of it, but as a businessman, because you have to wear all sorts of hats right now, right?
Yes.
Not only do you have the IT and the computer knowledge, but also now you have to be the marketer, be the accountant, be everything to the business. Mm-hmm. As a businessman, what have you found to be the most challenging thing in your business?
I think it would be, especially when you're starting out, I think it'd be credibility. Especially in technology, there's so many people out there, there's so many guys out there, and what's credible for me is having that soft handshake, having somebody give the recommendation firsthand rather than just only being a website that says, hey, look at how well we're doing. Building that relationship is what's really tripled my client base over the last couple of years as I've gone around and actually met with local businesses in Arizona.
So for you, it's been, even if you're a tech guy, what I'm hearing is that you still go old school style. Yep. And meet that individual person to person.
I believe personality and having that personal approach is good. They're not just a number. That person, hey, I really care about their business, or we really care about them, I think is important.
You mentioned this is to establishing that credibility goes back to marketing your business, mm-hmm. essentially, right? You would be surprised to know that that's probably the number one challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs face. Mm-hmm. Small businesses, big businesses. If you have the best IT company and nobody knows about it, what is it good for, right? Mm-hmm. How do you now? You've had this business for how long? 5 years. So five years, which is a terrific time to have. Now, where do you see expanding your business? Because now you also have to be the visionary, right? Mm-hmm. So where am I going to go?
I don't want to let out too many industry secrets yet.
That's all right. Nobody watches this.
No, right. I'm working. My biggest thing is when I work with other technology individuals. We working on other web platforms that help bring the community together. I think is a big part of it, and things that people see behind the scenes. We're engineering and designing that. I don't know how to explain it, but people have expectation on speed, on things should also constantly be in front of them all the time. Well, there's still a limit to things, and the way we present it on the back end is we're basically internet engineers, right? So we design these systems. A lot of stuff isn't always seen, but that is going to be growing up a lot because there's a lot of data being pushed around, and it's going to be a constant growth battle.
And the growth is limited to the bandwidth, if you will, or to the speed by which that information is being.
But growth is accelerated by the users, by people posting content, talking about their family, or relationship, whatever they're doing, especially via social media. We're pushing out so much data; it's hard to support.
And let's talk about that for a second, about pushing the data. We have found, and again, in our little world, non-tech world, mm-hmm. that video has become incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. And of course, as opposed to a text, video will consume a lot more data to transmit and to actually post. Mm-hmm. Do you see that to increase in the future? In other words, that video will continue and perhaps will even explode to be the number one message vehicle, if you will?
I think so, because a lot of people I work with, you wave your arms around, but people are visual. They're still very visual. A lot of everyone learns differently, but everyone, people are very visual, and it pulls on heartstrings when they have certain things shown in front of them, right? Depending on what the message is.
Right.
So I would agree with that. I think that is going to become probably the number one. But another communication tool that's still up there is also email. Even though in the business world, email is still pretty high up there when it comes to communications. So. Yeah.
You are in that world, in the IT world. Mm. What's one of the toughest questions that your customers ask of you?
Toughest question. There's quite a few different things. A lot of the questions come from, I don't know if you've heard this kind of term, but when you bring your own device, they want people, more and more employees and employers, if you will, want to use their own device, whether it be an iPhone, Android, whatever it is,
All right.
and it makes it challenging to answer the question of whether or not we can integrate it with their proprietary application, whatever they've been using for years in their business. So that makes it a big challenge to integrate things like that.
So integration becomes a very challenging thing,
Yes.
because we use so many devices in our real lives. I'm in the iPhone platform, she's on Android, and,
Yep.
and this other person might be in something else, and we all want to have this particular application to work on all of them.
Yes, and it has to be right now, right? Right this instant, and work flawless.
Gotcha.
Makes it
And
a challenge.
So timing is also a very, very, very difficult thing. But look at having a company for 5 years and looking. Are you looking to expand beyond the IT services that you have, or is that kind of?
No, I'm looking to for it right now. Looking to stay and really hone in the skill set on what we currently offer.
Raymond Adams, you look 18 years old, man. Are you sure did we card him when he came in? All right, that's good. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. We wish you the best. With that, we're out.